So for those of you that are new here, and for a lot of you guys who have been here for pretty much the long ride over the last couple of years, just wanted to say thank you. We started this channel back in 2020, and it was right when all the coronavirus stuff started happening and everything kind of started, winding down and getting shut down. So for Miss Afol TV and I, unfortunately, our offices closed and business for us started to really slow down. So we were a little bit bored and also unsure what to do. And at the time, some of the public areas were still open, especially the outdoor areas out here in California. So some of the malls were still open. So one night we decided to have a little date night, and we went to a local mall, and we happened to stumble upon a Lego store. And look, I had not been inside one of those, and neither had she, in years. I mean, since we were kids. It had probably been at least 15 years. And I don't even know how long it had been for her. We ended up picking up 2 of the Speed Champion sets, and we decided to have a little build and race contest with some wine, just for a fun little cheap date. It ended up being a blast. It had literally been 15 years since I had touched a Lego set, and I had no idea that it would unlock so many childhood memories and kind of launch us into where we are right now. So as things really started to get shut down and all the public closures and everything, and we were trapped under one roof, I started to kind of play around with taking the set apart and rebuilding some new things. And that's when I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube and seeing other tutorials out there and seeing how well people were doing online. And I decided, you know what, it would be kind of fun just to throw up some videos and see how they do. So the first ever video that we put together was a micro build of a police chase. And this was a lot of fun to put together, but it was also pretty surreal because we couldn't really go and get a lot of parts out in the stores because everything was closed. We couldn't get supplies for the YouTube channel because everything was closed. So we were ordering stuff online and just hoping that what we were ordering was right, such as the camera gear, the light box in order to film everything, the lighting for the videos. It was truly like, let's just order some stuff and see what happens. So we also found Bricklink at the time, and I had used it way back in the day, but it had been a long time, probably way back in the early 2000s. And we ordered some parts for that build. So we put this video together, and by today's standards, it's pretty terrible quality, but we threw it up on YouTube. And I remember that day being just so upset and frustrated with YouTube because I didn't know that videos, when you upload them, for those who've never done it, they have to render and they have to process. So I upload this thing, I make it live instantly, and it was terrible quality. I didn't know what had happened. I thought it would ruin the channel. It got like 1 view, and it was a terrible, terrible start to the whole YouTube journey. I wake up the next day and I log back in, and the video had finished processing, and I had 2 comments and I think like 14 views at the time. And I was like, whoa, this got so much attention. Awesome, let's do another one. So we made 3 more videos and kind of forgot about it for a couple months. We ended up taking a road trip in the middle of the pandemic to this hotel in Palm Springs that was still allowing people to come. It was an outdoor hotel, so they basically, all the rooms went to the outside, and so you were allowed to come stay there. So Miss Afol TV and I took a trip there, and I remember eating dinner one night in the hotel room because remember, everything was shut down. I opened my computer up, logged into YouTube, and we had almost 1,000 views, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe that one of the videos that we had posted actually took off for back then. And by take off, I mean for the channel at the time, that was really good. And I was like, wow, there actually might be something here. So from that point on, we started posting daily tutorials, which was a ton of work, but honestly, our day jobs had really slowed down, so it gave us full flexibility to really work on this. And we were posting so many videos and so much content, it was really hard to keep up with it. But honestly, it started doing really well. And that's kind of where we started actually seeing some progress on the YouTube side. The problem with that is as things really started to pick up on YouTube, we also started seeing costs really elevate. As you guys know, this is a very expensive hobby. And not only that, but the YouTube equipment is extremely expensive as well. For a good camera, you're looking at a couple $1,000s. For the microphone, you're looking at a couple $100. For lighting, everything else that goes into it, the editing software, the computer to edit the videos. I mean, there's a lot of back-end expenses here. So unfortunately, with our jobs slowing down and having pay cuts with that, with the costs of YouTube going up and keeping the channel afloat, we had to start thinking about ideas on how to actually make some money. Luckily, we had a fellow YouTuber reach out to us who was also in the Lego space, and they told us that they made an okay amount of money selling instructions online. So we're like, hey, let's give this a shot because honestly, we need something to help keep the channel afloat. We weren't monetized at the time, we weren't making anything from YouTube. This was all purely just putting in the effort, hoping that someday it would lead to something big. So we opened our store, and I remember on the first day we did $60 in sales, and that was awesome. I mean, that was like, hey, if we can do that every day, then we'll be doing great. Unfortunately, that didn't hold true. I think we just had a lot of initial interest on day one. It ended up dropping to like $5 a day. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's still some good revenue to help keep the channel afloat. So for 3 or 4 months, it was wake up, film a video, the next couple hours spend making instructions and things to download on our website, improving the website functionality, getting it out there, marketing, and at the end of the day, we would come up with a new script for the next day. Sprinkle in there some work for our ongoing day jobs that we still had, even though they had slowed down. And our days were packed. So during the pandemic, when a lot of people were watching Netflix, we were stuck honestly working pretty much from sun up till sundown. And again, we really weren't sure if it was gonna pay off in the end, but it was just something to keep us busy when everything else was shut down. And it was kind of fun. It brought back childhood memories and it brought back the nostalgia as well as the love for the hobby. I think the other thing that made our channel a lot different than others is that we were never sponsored by Lego or other companies. We bought everything that you guys see in the videos with our own money, and we still do to this day. We never joined the ambassador program. We never did paid reviews. And the reason for that is because we wanted to keep everything authentic. I think some of these other channels, while it's great that they do that, they're basically being forced to provide these reviews for you guys. And I think it could sway their opinion on the sets in order to keep them in good standing with the company, although they would never admit that. I think by actually buying the sets, all the reviews that you guys have seen on our channel are done with our own money. We actually go and wait for the set to come out. We don't get early access. We buy the set and then we review it for you guys with our honest feedback. And some of our feedback has been critical and some of it has been positive. It's really just whatever we think about the set at the time. But we always think that honesty is the best policy. So we wanted to be truthful with you guys, not be sponsored, and just show you guys exactly how we see it in case you want to go spend your own money. Because again, these things are expensive. It's an expensive hobby. And if you're gonna be spending a couple $100s on a set, I think you should get the truth. So again, everything you see behind us has been funded through YouTube, instructions, and our own money from our careers in order to keep this channel afloat. And that has honestly, I think, been the key to the success and what keeps you guys coming back, because obviously we focus on quality. We try and do hyper realistic builds. We try and do really quality builds and tutorials that you don't see on many other channels. I think there's a lot of channels that focus on entertainment because unfortunately that's the way that YouTube has gone. And that's great and all. They create some really good content out there. There's some really entertaining channels that we follow and watch along in the Lego space. It doesn't really focus on build quality or cities. And I'm not trying to ding them in any way. I think that's just what they specialize in. But we've kind of gone the opposite direction. We want to focus on the nostalgia of building a city and really focusing on the details and coming up with an airport build that's super realistic, or coming out with a city build that's super realistic. And that may have held us back from growing faster online, but at the end of the day, it keeps us grounded in the core aspirations from the channel when we first started, and that was to create quality reviews, quality tutorials, and quality builds. So as the store started ramping up and as the city started ramping up, we had to get more space. We moved to our second location. We started with just the Skyloft build, and then we built a city from there. And that was in 2021 as the pandemic was still going on. That was a really cool room for us, and it was the first chance that we had to really build a true city. And I think that's where a lot of you guys started joining the channel to kind of follow along. And while we loved where we were, we had a really good opportunity to buy a piece of real estate that landed us in the current studio where we are now. And I know that we've moved the city around a lot here, and the reason for that is it's just kind of a funky space with a funky layout. So as the city builds and gets further along, it's really tough to keep the momentum going without running into obstacles just due to the way the room's laid out. It's part of our garage that also makes it really tricky, which is moving stuff around in storage. And so that, I think, has led to so many of the changes that you guys have seen over the last 2 years since being here and creating all the different city layouts. We started with a few different layouts in 2022 when we bought the place, and then in 2023 we changed it again. And then we moved into our LA city build, which is really popular, but unfortunately super expensive. And that led us finally into the build that you guys see today, and the one behind me, which we're currently working on. And we have more great updates coming for this city. We've ordered a bunch of parts recently and have some new builds coming in. So super excited to share with you guys. I think we're gonna aim to do our next city update video next week. So definitely stay tuned for that. But you guys may have also noticed that we aren't posting as frequently as we did a couple years ago. And that's truly just because our careers, again, this is not our day job. This is just a side hobby. And so unfortunately with our careers, they obviously take precedent. They're the most important thing. And that's where we have to spend the most of our time. Not only that, but Miss Afol TV and I both individually each got promoted at our respective firms. So we're taking on even more work and even more time, which makes it even tougher to work on this stuff. So it's just kind of slowed down the frequency of posting, unfortunately, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, we're still gonna continue the hobby when we can, usually on weekends and late nights in the evenings after work, but it's definitely slowed down a little bit. And I know you guys are frustrated with that, so we apologize. So let's talk about the future of the channel, because I think, there's some exciting things coming as well as some changes, and we're not changing the layout yet. So don't worry, there's some things, some moving parts that we want to talk to you guys about. So the goal over the next couple of months is to keep building out the city and show you guys this new layout. Again, we have parts on the way for a new city update video. We want to complete the beach town. We want to, work on downtown a little bit more. We want to work on the waterfront and all that. And then we also want to probably upgrade the airport a little bit. There are some changes that we have in mind to kind of add some new builds to the airport that you guys haven't seen yet. It's not on our website yet. It's not on Instagram yet. So that'll be really exciting if we can get to it. But the purpose of this video is to first of all say thank you guys for hitting 100,000 subscribers, because never in our wildest dreams did we ever think we were going to hit that. So it's super exciting to be there, and we couldn't have done it without all of you guys. We also wanted to thank you for all the support with the store over the years. It's really helped to fund a lot of this, so we really appreciate you guys for that. But the purpose of this video is also to announce that we are in escrow to buy a new place. And if everything goes according to plan, it's going to be a new studio space, but it's going to take several months to build out. So that's why I say the city is not changing yet, so don't worry about that. There's going to be at least several months of work left to do on this before we move. But at some point in the future, probably next year or early the following, the city will be moved to a brand new space, a new studio, and we're really excited about that. So in closing, it's been a really wild ride over the last 4 years. We've learned a ton about YouTube. We've learned a ton about this hobby, and we've learned a ton about all of you guys and what you like to see. We're still gonna keep posting as much as we possibly can. It's just tough with work. But we want to really sincerely thank all you guys for all the support over the years. We couldn't have done it without you. And stay tuned for a bunch of fun upcoming builds and city updates. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.